Welcome everybody to the GameTyrant Winter Series semifinals. We're finally here. The last couple games. So how today's going to break down is we are going to have two semifinal games, and then after that we're going to have a best of three for third place, and then we're going to go on to the finals for our last game of the day. But it's going to be a best of five. So good luck to all our teams out there. This is Shay YT coming to you solo from the GameTyrant studio. We're about to hop into game here with Garcrush 2 and Needlessly Large Rods. We got Champ Select up here already. Master Yi, first one banned off, and a Gnar. Interesting. So Gnar has actually been buffed a little bit in the jungle, so but top lane he doesn't have the highest win rate, so it must be a target ban. And then Philios and Fiora are two bans that follow. Let's see what else. So one of the biggest lanes that I'm going to be looking out for today is in the mid lane. I think it's going to be probably the most competitive out of the lanes, especially with Death coming onto the field. But we also have Fiora, which is why Fiora is also banned in this one. Zac also banned, targeted towards Larry. And then the Senna. Thank goodness. I'm not in the mood today for any fasting Sennas. It's okay to watch, but it's absolutely horrible to play against. So I don't blame Needlessly Large Rods for banning that out. First pick of the game. Let's see what Garcrush 2 prioritizes. They are here on the blue side, so they do get first pick. See if they come out with anything crazy. They're taking their good time. Zoe is the first one that comes out. Really strong pick right now. Honestly, she's picked or banned in the majority of LCS games right now. She just does so much damage. And Ornn going out towards Fiora this morning. He's played him before, so it's not too big of a surprise to see it. Now Wukong, I assume that is for Larry, but it could also be for Death. Wukong has been played in the mid lane. But yeah, it looks like we got a nice front line, some good engage, good follow-up with the Ornn. Shaping out to be a good comp so far. Good team fight comp. And an Akali. I'm not sure if we've seen an Akali at all in the winter series so far. And it switched to an Aatrox. Jeez, getting my hopes up for nothing. Aatrox, awesome. Well, that is a very aggressive top laner. Could be played mid as well, but with the Zoe pick, I assume that it is going to be in the top lane. Now, against the Ornn, it is a little bit rough early for Ornn, but once he starts to get some of his items, starts to get some of his defenses, really, nothing can kill Ornn when you get to that point. Ooh, and an Elise coming out. Really strong pick right now. Good early game. And honestly, it takes a lot of skill to play Elise, so it's super exciting to see when someone comes into Summoner's Rift playing Elise really well, just using all 6 of her abilities. And then we got a Braum in the bot lane. And a Lucian ban. I assume these last couple bans are going to be all targeted towards the bot lane, because those are the 2 that are missing from Garcrush 2. I'd expect another ADC ban, potentially a support ban, but we'll see. We'll see where Garcrush 2 puts their focus, if it's going to be on the ADC or in the mid lane. And a Yasuo ban could be mid, could be bot. Honestly, solid ban all around. I wouldn't expect, needlessly, honestly, to go Yasuo, just because right now their team comp is so AD focused. They're going to need a lot more AP in their comp, or else it's just going to be easy enough for Garcrush 2 to build some armor, and that's it. Last ban here for Needlessly, and it's a Caitlyn. Yep, that's 4 ADC bans coming out of Needlessly Large Rods. Not a big surprise. Honestly, it's good to target ban one champion. That way their champion pool is severely restricted. But also they're restricting their own pool, and they are not going to be the first ones. Oh, they actually are going to be the first ones to pick after the second round of bans. Zillion, obviously targeted towards the mid, because I assume Braum is going to be going support today. All right. Needlessly. I would assume that they're going to pick their ADC now because so many, I was going to say, because so many ADCs are banned right now, there's not many high priority ADC picks left remaining, but Kai'Sa is the one that I would assume was going to come out. Strong late game. Honestly, in her early game isn't horrible. She does have a really low range, so it is pretty easy to abuse her, but she's got the Braum by her side. Nautilus coming in from the support, and the final ban, I assume, or the final pick for Garcrush 2, I assume is going to be a ADC, unless they're doing some crazy strats with Zoe or Aatrox in the bot lane. But I haven't seen that been done so far, so I don't really expect it. Taking their sweet time. Jeez, you're keeping me on the edge of my seat here. And the last ban, even though on the screen it shows blank square, it is actually Zilean. Just having a couple issues with Pro Draft. But yes, that is a Zilean ban. And the Tristana. Honestly, Tristana Nautilus is such a good comp because Tristana can just follow up regardless of where she is in the lane on the Nautilus. And we have a Nico. Now, I would assume that's going towards death in the mid, but we have seen Fiora play it. So we could see. I don't know if Death can play Ornn, or if Larry can play Ornn and move Wukong to the jungle. But there's a lot of flex picks here. Honestly, I'm not quite sure where exactly they're going. I would assume Nico's in the mid lane, but we'll see. It's just so many flex picks here. Whereas on the side of Garcrush 2, everything is pretty cut and dry. We got Zoe in the mid lane, Aatrox top, Leash jungle, Tristana ADC, and Nautilus as the support. So that was Pro Draft, and now we're here in the actual champion select. Everyone's just going to be selecting their champions. And it looks like Death is hovering the Ornn. So they're putting Fiora on the Nico again. And he popped off on that Nico. I can't stress that enough. He did so well on that Nico the last game that we played. He definitely carried that previous game. So it's exciting to see Death here on a new champion, the Ornn, up against Garchomp 1 on the Zoe. Now it's going to be pretty similar to like that Aatrox lane. It's just going to have a really rough early game. But after that, it's you just can't kill Ornn when it gets to that part of the game where he has all his items, he's upgrading other people's items. It's just absolutely ridiculous to kill him. So if Garchomp 1 can actually throw some Sleepy Trouble Bubbles on that Ornn and take him out early, it will delay the time that it takes to get to those levels, to get to those price points. I believe with the nerf, there was a nerf that extended the level to which he can upgrade items. One level. So level 12, I believe, is when you can start upgrading your own items, and then every level after that you can upgrade someone else on your team's items. You can upgrade a total of 2 of your items. But yeah, honestly, I'm looking at Fiora here, hoping that we get another great performance like we did in the previous game. And this is a best 2 out of 3. So if Fiora does pop off on the champion, I'd expect Garcrush 2 to ban that next time. But then that also opens up the potential that they will not ban Fiora. And if you've been watching any of our other streams, any of our other games, I've been waiting for Fiora to play Fiora. She has not been given the opportunity to play Fiora on stream. Which is such a shame because when you're named after a champion, you expect to be really good at that champion, So it's super disappointing that we haven't been able to see Fiora on Fiora. Hopefully in these last couple games, we'll finally get that opportunity. But honestly, this is shaping out to be a great game so far. Needlessly has been one of my season favorites. They just so much excitement in these games. It's so bloody. They love to fight. It's high risk, high reward style of play. So when they do capitalize on the plays that they're making, the game goes completely in their favor, and they are really good at pushing their win. Whereas Garcrush 2, we've seen them come out really early and get some good kills. We saw it against Down to Flash 2 weeks ago, where they got a bunch of early leads, but then unfortunately they threw it. So I'm hoping that that Garcrush 2 kind of shows what they're made of in these couple of games, and to see if they are worthy of challenging Down to Flash again here in the finals. And if they do that, then it's going to be a best of 5. So they're going to have more opportunities to kind of dial in on their strategies and finally get to the point where they can beat Down to Flash. But needlessly large rods, they hopefully are going to be able to also, get those kind of same opportunities. They have struggled against Down to Flash in the past. Down to Flash is, to this point, undefeated. So hopefully if needlessly proves themselves here to Garcrush 2, they can just keep the momentum going on into the finals and just use that same high risk, high reward style of play to kind of stick it to Down to Flash. We always got to vote for the underdogs here. You'd expect Down to Flash to win, which is why you kind of hope for one of these other teams to kind of come out and just destroy Down to Flash. But what? So needlessly large rods coming up big in the viewer pool today. They are the hopeful winners for this game. They have my vote here too. Got to vote for the underdogs here in this one. Death and Fiora, I'm really looking towards you guys to make the plays happen. Fiora, carry the game. Death set Fiora up to carry the game. Whereas for Garcrush 2, Kodo Draco, man, you got to prove yourself. If you want to fight Down to Flash again, you got to prove yourself right here and now. These are the games that you need to come out and win, come out swinging, bring the momentum. Don't get into a tilted area. Okay, so we've come here to game now. We got needlessly large rods. They are all up in this bush here, whereas it looks like Garcrush 2 is all doing just a line of scrimmage. Now, we've seen needlessly large rods do this before, and it's ended very bad for them. So hopefully nothing too scary happens here. We got Will of D throwing a deep ward into needlessly large rod's bush. That will catch Larry doing Raptors. It may actually expire by the time that he gets there. And needlessly large rods throw in a safety ward right at their own red, making sure that no one's wrapping around to toot them in the booty. But all right. Oh, looks like it's going to be a normal start after all. Awesome. So if we're looking at the matchups here, in the bot lane, Calavir and Big Ben may have a little harder time earlier on. But if Calavir can really show up on this Zoe, then he will definitely on the Kaisa, then we'll definitely have a great late game. Tristana too is very good at sieging, so she takes towers really fast. Ooh, and we got engaged here. McDoodle's coming in with the hook, taking big bound to below half health. Look at that, already taking advantage of their early game prowess. Keaton Factor just farming away. And in the mid lane here, I do expect Garchomp 1 to kind of be taking control of this lane. Whereas Fiora, you'd expect to see some poke once he hits level 3. Ooh, and we got engaged coming in out of Keaton Factor, throwing the bomb up on Calavir, getting some nice damage, taking her to half health, but that is it. They're just doing this, like I said, they're just taking advantage of their early game. They will win these fights until Calavir can get some items, get some damage. Ooh, and we got Will of D sneaking up here. Larry Lovestein was able to finish off the red. He has to flash over the, right there over the wall. That's unfortunate. He's not going to be able to use the flash to secure any kills later on when he does gank. Will of D, ooh, looking for a sneaky gank here. I don't think he's spotted out Larry here, but he is going to take the Krugs, putting him at a CS advantage. Actually, it's going to be 16-16 clear here. Both junglers taking the same amount of camps. Ooh, Death barely missing his Spire there. And Garchomp won't get in the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Putting out some damage there. And they are at about relatively the same healths. Keaton Factor still getting the pokes. CS-wise, I mean, Calaveer's keeping up, and that's all I'd expect him to do. If he can just keep up in CS, I think he will win. Fiora getting ganked here by Will of D, but pulls out the decoy and does get away. McDoodle's coming in with another gank, pulling Big Ben. But Big Ben, the shield is just too strong. Ooh, unfortunately, Big Ben did have to flash, and the heal did come out from Calaveer. So that Summoner is down on the bot lane. Calaveer still does have flash. Fiora getting some damage out onto Kodo Draco. Nothing too crazy happening yet. Just a lot of trades here in the lanes. McDoodles and Big Ben having a little laugh off there in the lane. And Death is actually doing quite well here in my opinion, but he does miss the charge on the Spire. He does get ignited and he goes down. First blood! Going over to Garchomp 1. Well done. I mean, I see what Death was trying to do there. He did see Larry, but Larry is actually getting... and he turns it on Will of D. Will of D trying to sneak up on him, throwing him in the cocoon. But Larry Lovestein does not care. Monkey does not care. He turns around and gets the kill. 1 for 1 here. Slight gold advantage over to Garcrush 2, but it is still early. Lot could go on, but 1 for 1 here. It's looking like a competitive game. McDoodle is looking for a gank, and he does get the snare off on him. He still has hook. Oh, but and it's not enough. Ignite takes him down to so low, but they cannot finish Big Ben off. He is just that big. Holy cow. See, this is why the rods are so much fun to watch. They always are guaranteed to have bloody games, even if it's not them spilling the blood. Garcrush 2, I mean, they are just poking so hard. Will of D did start the Drake. They are able to finish that off. First Drake going over to Garcrush 2. That was an Ocean Drake, meaning we will not have an Ocean Rift here, but Will of D caught out, throws the cocoon at Larry Lovestein, cannot get the charge off. He still has flash up, but Larry did not follow up. Larry doesn't see him. Oh man, Will of D, you sneaky man. He does get away. Look at that. So he did take Dragon, but Larry just didn't see him. I think he actually probably could have taken him down. Wukong at this part of the game is so strong. And Elise is too, actually, but the thing is Larry had the levels on him. And Death getting some good poke off on Garchomp 1. Garchomp 1 returned a little bit of the damage, but not quite the same amount. So Garchomp 1 did come back to the lane with a Lost Chapter. I assume that's going to be built into a Luden's Echo later on into the game. Last Chapter just gives him a little bit of that mana sustain. Fiora getting caught up and locked down, but he does escape. And there's a slight CS advantage in the mid lane, along with an extra kill over to Garchomp. So if he can just take advantage of his short lead here, he may be able to get another kill, especially because Death is actually down a level. Ooh, that damage is absolutely ridiculous. McDoodle's just doing the normal clear. Looks like we may have a gank coming in top lane, but Kodo Draco does suspect something. He does back off. Ooh, and then we got Will of D sneak around here in the back. This is risky. And it looks like Will of D is just going to back. No tower dive here yet. Gold is relatively the same with a small lead in the favor of Garcrush 2. And Tristana just getting to the plates. Hooks comes out onto Big Ben, but they can't quite finish the kill. He's still at half health, still has plenty of health to go with. Ooh, and then we got Larry Lovestein coming in. Oh, and Garchomp won. Slips back and forth between the Call of the Forge God. And McDoodles here is level 6. Let's see if they decide to engage with a little power spike they have here, the little advantage they have over Calavir and Big Ben. Yes. All right, in the top lane, Fiora is a little bit down on CS. Now Larry was spotted out here, but Will of D is a level down, and Fiora did have lane advantage, but Will of D steals the Rift Herald. Fiora, though, coming out with the ultimate. Nothing. Will of D did flash out, and then Death did get caught up, but Kodo Draco is getting so low, and they take him down. Pop Blossom with Fiora, and then the final auto, the empowered auto coming out of Fiora, taking Kodo Draco down. So Will of D did get the Rift Herald there. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Get hopefully first turret from that. And now I'd expect him to take a bot lane here because McDoodles and Keaton Factor have been putting quite a bit of work out on this tower. But it's only got one plate left. Ooh, and Death getting a good knock-up here on Garchomp 1, but Sleepy Bubble comes out. Oh, and the Pop Blossom Ignite, and he is taken down. Will of D just there for the secure. Oh, and we had Fiora flash out right there. Fiora's flash is down. Larry Lovestein, though, sees Will of D, takes him down. Will of D is seeing these ganks, and he didn't participate in that last one, but he saw the potential for the gank, but then he just gets caught out, kind of getting his hand in the cookie jar. He's walking out, and he can't seem to find like a safe way out, trying to get too much out of it. But Larry Lovestein did capitalize on it, and we got Rift Herald coming out here on top lane, taking down a couple plates here. That is a lot of money going into the pocket of Kodo Draco, but we have the Drake started here. It's an Infernal Drake. And Needlessly Large Rods did start it up, and then we got Engage coming out from McDoodles, roots up Big Ben, but Big Ben comes out with the Glacial Fissure, and it looks like, and he is taken down. Drake also did go over to the rods, and it is a Mountain Rift here, which is going to be great for Death here in the mid lane, because he does build a lot tankier. Now Fiora is pretty low here in the top lane. Let's see if Kodo Draco can pull this dive off. He does have ultimates, I believe. So there is the definite potential for that gank to come out. Fiora looking like she's just kind of back. I would suggest that you back, just because the potential that Aatrox can kill you under that tower. And Death may get caught out again. Sleepy Bubble goes a little wide. Can't quite finish him off. And Death, health bars getting low on every side of Needlessly Large Rods, but Garcrush 2 not quite able to finish him off. Larry Lovestein looking like he's just going to be able to pull off a clean back here. And we're back to the sieging on the bot side. It goes on much longer. Ooh, and Garchomp just throwing skill shot after skill shot, not quite able to hit them. Death has those fancy feet, put on his blue suede shoes today. And that tower is getting dangerously low. Now, Fiora was able to get that kill earlier on, so she does have a little bit of an advantage over Kodo Draco. She did get her GLP. She is running the Glacial Augment, so that will help her either engage or disengage, depending on the situation. Kodo Draco here being very safe. He did see Larry. He spotted him out. Will of D also preparing for the counter Drake. And there is the first turret falling. The siege from Tristana is just too much. And there's also a CS advantage in the favor of Keaton Factor. Fiora doesn't quite get caught up, and she ultimates, but Aatrox also came in with the ultimate. Larry Lovestein come in and flash to the last proc of his Q. Can they take him down? He's so low. Yes, they take him down. Will of D still remains. Fiora so low. Will of D looking for him, and there goes. Oh, and he falls for the clone. And Larry Lovestein taking down Will of D. Garchomp 1 comes in with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but misses his minion. Larry Lovestein is still very alive. Oh, and that burst. Garchomp 1 takes down Fiora. Not bad. Larry Lovestein using his clone to take on, and the depth charge comes out from McDoodles, and then Keaton follow up. Keaton Factor does follow up. Keaton Factor does get really low though. Death hops on him, takes him down. Big Ben with the Glacial Fissure gets so low and is taken down. Can Death take down McDoodles and even the playing field here? No, he cannot. He does get the knock up on Garchomp 1, but he does get the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and he does follow up, but not enough damage to take him down. So all in all, I believe that was a 2-1 trade going in the favor of Garcrush 2. And that the gold lead has increased. It's almost 2K now in the favor of Garchomp 2. Flash pulled out with a Sleepy Trouble Bubble. And that is enough damage to take him down. Garchomp 1 just popping off here in game 1. Honestly, just so much damage from those Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. And Luden's Echo early buy that he did get. And he also does have a Dark Seal. So I'd expect him to upgrade that to a Medjai's Soul Stealer. We got some cheeky stuff here going on. Big Ben looking for a catch on Kodo. And we have Keaton Factor here and McDoodles here. They were spotting out wards. We did have Calavir and Big Ben here, though. Rift Herald is, and Larry Lovestein just has Will of D's number this morning. Keaton Factor does get really low. Calavir comes in with the ultimate. Fiora with the ultimate as well. They do take down Keaton Factor. McDonald's gets really low and is taken down. But Kodo Draco coming out with the big damages. Is not able to take down Big Ben. And that is 3 kills going over to the rods. Soon enough, Fiora is going to go back. Is going to have enough money to just go back and buy a couple of needlessly large rods. Get that Rabadon's death cap. Rift Herald immediately summoned here in the mid lane. There should be mid turret. It is taken down. And I believe that is the first turret going over towards needlessly large rods. But they did even up. In fact, they are a little bit ahead now. So that means they got almost 2K from that last fight. Big Ben is dangerously low if Garchomp 1 can catch him out. And Will of D going in for the steal. Can he get it? No. Larry Lovestein does get the kill and takes down Will of D. Fiora getting sleepy bubbled up, but no follow-up from Garchomp 1. Holy cow, this is why the rods are just so much fun to watch. They're so bloody, and honestly, I haven't seen Will of D pop this hard in the Winter Series yet. Honestly, he is just doing so well this game. And there are no negative KDAs on the side of Needlessly Large Rods, whereas Will of D and Kodo Draco have just been slack in this game, honestly. I expect so much from Kodo being the captain of the team and doing so well in previous games that it's crazy that he's not able to stop some of these kills or at least get a couple more kill returns. He is ahead in CS by quite a bit, but the amount of kills and assists on Fiora is just, it outweighs that CS. We have Calavera and Big Ben up here on the top side. Garchomp 1 did respond. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not hit. Calavera and Big Ben going to continue the siege. Nope, they actually are going to back off. Now Will of D is top side. So, I mean, it was a good call, honestly, seeing as Will of D could have potentially ganked. We have Keaton Factor and McDoodles here in the mid lane up against here in Death, and it looks like they are looking for something they're looking for something, honestly. McDoodles hasn't been spotted out. Fiora does get chained up. Can't quite. Ooh, and she does get knocked up with a second proc as well, but she does proc the GLP. That slowing field is just too much. Kodo Draco cannot follow and get that third proc on his Q. Keaton Factor just farming here under tower. Now, I do believe that Needlessly Large Rods does have a bit of a stronger comp in the late game. And Death catching out Will of D and Garchomp does throw out the Call of the Forge God, knocks up Garchomp 1, and he is taken down by Death. That was a kill streak, I believe, going over to Death, but he is still taking turret aggro. He does pop the stopwatch, and he does live. Oh, and they do take down the tower. That means Larry Loves, he does live, and they take down Will of D, Garchomp 1, and McDoodles. But Keaton Factor here just taking down towers, doing what Tristana does best. And Fiora is getting fairly low. The dive is threatening, but we have the entire... We have 4 sets of rods here in the top lane, taking down a turret, a tier 2 turret. So that was a tier 1 turret for a tier 2 plus a couple of kills. Teleport coming out from Death, trying to catch out the Keaton Factor. He knocks him up in the middle of the Tristana dash. Ultimate comes out from Keaton Factor. He is just taking so much damage from that Brittle. Kodo Draco is sneaking up, though, does get the knockups from his Qs, but Fiora is here, takes down Keaton Factor. Kodo does ult, but so does Fiora. Is it enough damage? Calavera is here, and he cannot take down Fiora. Fiora has, like, no health right now. He did live. Whoa, the plays coming out from the rods. Absolutely ridiculous. The rotations were amazing. Death catching out Keaton Factor in the middle of his dash was absolutely ridiculous. The timing on that is nuts. Good stuff, honestly, coming out from all of the rods. Everybody, great communication, following up on each other. The jukes, the fancy feet, coming in from everyone this morning. Fiora, good stuff, good stuff. We have kill streaks on almost every single member, besides Big Ben, on the side of Needlessly Large Rods. Showing up today. Can Garcrush 2 take this back? They are in the deepest abyss. They need to be able to get a couple more catches here. Garchomp 1 needs to get a couple Sleepy Trouble Bubbles on some unsuspecting victims. And right as I said that, Fiora gets caught up. Big Ben with the shield comes in, but Fiora comes up with the ultimate. The shield is massive, and he stuns up all members. Holy cow, Larry Loves team with the knockups, just taking them down one by one. And Keaton Factor does get caught up by Death, and it is taken down. Now, I thought that was a great catch coming out from Garchomp 1, but they couldn't quite finish off Fiora. The shield was just too big, and they take down the fourth Drake of the game, excuse me. They have 2 Mountain Drakes and 1 Infernal Drake. One more, and they get the Mountain Soul. And they're rotating over here towards Baron. Now, Garchomp or Garcrush 2 is coming up here in a couple seconds. Then again, Kaisa does take Baron pretty darn fast, especially with Larry. He is so fed right now, doing ridiculous amounts of damage. I mean, he's got Black Cleaver, Warriors Enchant. It looks like he's building towards a Titanic. Like, he is just going places, honestly. He has 3 levels on Will of D, and he is 8 kills above him. Will of D, 7 deaths so far. And the problem is, too, that Elise isn't as good in the late game. She's more reliant on her Cocoon getting great picks. But Larry does have the knock-up that can knock up every single member on Garcrush 2 in the right circumstances. So I do believe that Larry does have a little bit more usefulness in the late game, especially in team fights. And needlessly, Large Rods have just been on top of their game with team fights. Both Death and Larry just coming up with the knockups. Call of the Forge God has been procced perfectly so far, and Fiora does get that bot turret, so that's more money in the pockets of the Rods. Now, there is quite a big difference now in gold. It's almost 6-7 gold in the favor of needlessly large Rods here. And now comes the mini game, protect the cannon minion. Just letting it siege on that turret there, and Fiora still pushing. And this is the point of the game where Ornn probably just won't die at all anymore. Death does have a 400 gold bounty, and I would assume that to stay on him for the rest of the game, just because it's so difficult to kill Ornn at this part of the game. Big Ben does get caught up, though, hooked in by the Nautilus. He has to pull out the Glacial Fissure, and it isn't enough. Turning a kill in the favor of Keaton Factor. Good stuff. This is what Garcrush needs to do, but they did give up a turret. And let's see what Larry can do here. He does go for the knockup, but he gets shut down. Another kill going towards Keaton Factor. Hopefully he can just take that golden run with it. Bring Garcrush 2 back into the game. Tristana, every time she levels up, her passive is she gets more. Oh, but we got a knockup coming in from Death, but honestly, just the worst circumstances. It was a 1-for-1 trade there. Will of D going down, but Death going down as well, and Fiora caught out. Flash coming out from Kodo Draco, but it isn't enough. The snare goes wide, and and they do take him down, and they're just taking him down one by one, but Calavir with the moves, taking down Kodo Draco in return, but that was a 3-for-2 trade in the favor of Garcrush 2. They honestly just capitalized on the greediness of needlessly large Rods. Good stuff, honestly. They just got so much gold in their pockets from all those bounties. And just as I said, Death probably won't die anymore. He fell. I should just probably stop saying that kind of stuff, because honestly, whenever you say that kind of stuff, it always happens. All right, so we got Big Ben getting some nice vision here. Nice deep vision. If you look at needlessly large vision right now, they have the entirety of the bot jungle just completely warded out. Uh-oh, Larry. Uh-oh, Larry getting caught out. Depth charge comes out. Will of D returning the favor, saying that if you kill me in my jungle, I will kill you in your jungle. Good stuff. Good catch out by McDoodle's Keaton Factor. And Death following suit, getting caught out as well. But this time he has a team here. Nothing. And that looks like it was it. Just the slow coming out. Now, there is a team here, and I don't believe they've been spotted out by the team of Garcrush 2. Death getting chained up, but he does not get pulled back. Garchomp 2, or Garchomp 1 looking for the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Does find it on Big Ben, but a great call of the Forge God coming out, taking down both Kodo Draco. Oh, but Garchomp 1 coming in from the flank, taking down Big Ben. 2-for-1 trade. McDoodles and Kodo Draco going down on the side of Garcrush 2. And this is the Dragon Soul for Needlessly Large Rods. They are down a man, so I would expect Needlessly Large Rods to push the fight here. But Death is getting dangerously low, and they do start it up. Calavir is here. Death is low, but they don't have vision of him. And he hops in with the Blast Plant, taking down Keaton Factor, and the entire team following Needlessly Large Rods, getting the Dragon Soul, finishing off Garcrush 2. Good stuff. Kodo Draco did teleport top, though. He is taking down the top Tier 2 turret, but Big Ben coming here with the Stand By Me, coming up with the concussive blows, but it is not enough damage. Can he get another slow for Death to follow up? And the Q with the jump backwards does get it, but the rest of the rods, 3 rods in the middle, taking down 1 inhibitor, moving towards the top inhibitor. It's going to be 2 inhibitors down for Garcrush 2, and things are looking bleak. McDoodle's looking for a hook, though. He does have depth charge up. Can he find a good Kodo Draco, though, coming around? He did proc his ultimate, so he is healing a crazy amount, but the Call of the Forge God just going hard on the entire team, taking them all down, and that is a Zonia's in mid-repel, but Will of D does fall. That is almost a 6,000 gold lead in the favor of Needlessly Large Rods, along with the Soul. That is a ridiculous amount of gold in the form of a Dragon Soul, in the form of a shield, and extra tankiness on the side of Needlessly Large Rods. And also, because those 2 inhibitors are down, they are going to have a lot of pressure in both the top and mid lane, which opens a lot of room for them to start Baron, especially because there's no Garcrush 2 vision on the Baron or really anywhere close. They don't even have any vision in top jungle or bot jungle. Honestly, the entire map of Garcrush 2 just looking black. They cannot see anything. They have no idea where the Needlessly Large Rods are. Honestly, they could be baiting for all they could be baiting the Baron for all they know, and they could just pop out of nowhere, out of any bush. So all of them playing very cautiously. And you have all of the rods up here, except Fiora. He is in the bot lane backing. And they're starting out Baron here. But Garcrush 2 does think something is up, and Will of D throws out the volatile Spiderling. We have a teleport coming in. I believe it's Fiora, and she comes in, automatically starts the ult, but doesn't get anything off on him. Red team does slay the dragon, or the Baron, and they do take... Keaton Factor does take down Fiora, but Larry Lovestein returns the favor, getting a kill on McDoodles. And that's so many knockups on Kodo Draco when they take him down. The Guardian Angel here on Keaton Factor being procced, and he does get taken down. We have Garchomp 1 and Will of D remaining on the side of Garcrush 2, and it looks like they may be able to take Game 1 here. Needlessly Large Rods looking to take the Nexus, and they do take it. Needlessly Large Rods taking Game 1. Holy cow. Honestly, I did not expect this. I didn't expect Needlessly Large Rods to be that abusive and that dominant in any of these games. Like, they just came out swinging. Honestly, Fiora and Death just showing up. But honestly, if I had to give the MVP to anyone, it would be to Larry. His rotations, his map awareness, his ability to take down Will of D was just ridiculous. He had his number today. And what a great game to start off the first game of an honestly it's going to be a long game of excitement. If any of the following games are anything like this game, it's going to be an insane day. So this gets me so excited. So look at these damage charts. Garchomp 1 and Keaton Factor just putting out ridiculous amounts of damage. But unfortunately, it didn't amount to much because they weren't able to push any of those team fights in their favor. Honestly, every single team fight was in the favor of needlessly large rods. And I honestly think it was because the Garcrush 2 didn't have too strong of a front line. They did have McDoodles and Kodo Draco, but they weren't able to tank the absolute damage coming out of Larry. That was a great first game. We are going to get ready for the second game. I need Garcrush 2 to go back to the drawing board. I want to see a different jungle pick coming out of Will of D. I think maybe something like Sejuani or something a little more tanky would be something that Garcrush 2 really needs. I think they need some solid engage along with a little more of the front line, just so Keaton Factor and Garchomp 1 can do the same thing that they did last game, just put out the damage. So what a great first game. Getting excited for the second one. We're going to take a short break here. We'll be back in a couple minutes to start up game 2. We'll see if Needlessly Large Rods can keep the win going or if Garcrush 2 can come back and take the series. We'll see you guys back here in a minute. Welcome back, everybody, to the second game. Garcrush 2 versus Needlessly Large Rods. Garcrush 2 did have side selection because they lost, and the side that they chose was blue side. So they were on blue side last time. Now, my biggest questions now are going to be, who does Garcrush 2 choose to ban? We've seen them ban Fiora consistently in the past. There was a ton of ADCs being banned, so I'm expecting, honestly, I am expecting Garcrush 2 to kind of change up their whole ban scenario. I'm kind of expecting them to give up the Fiora. Now, they can sacrifice a couple of their other bans for and keep the Fiora ban, but honestly, what I'd expect most is the Fiora to be played this game. That's honestly what I'm hoping for and excited. Now, what Garcrush 2 needs to do, in my opinion, is they need to craft a stronger team fight comp rather than the kind of pick comp that they had last game. They did have a 1-4 going, a 1-4 split going, but because of that, Needlessly Large Rods was able to take advantage of the remaining 4 members and basically just take them out before Kodo Draco could respond to any of the fights. So it was always an unfair fight in the favor of Needlessly Large Rods, taking them down, just fight after fight. Now, for Needlessly Large Rods, I'd expect them to do somewhat of the same thing, maybe with a couple change-up, because I do expect a lot of the champions that were played last game to be banned. Wukong and Nico, just to say a few. Even the Ornn, honestly, I could see them banning that. Now, I don't expect Calavir to be banned at all, just because he wasn't really that big of a part of the victory last game. He was essential. He did output a lot of damage, but it was just the Fiora on Nico and Larry on Wukong that kind of controlled that game. Larry just keeping tabs on Will of D and taking him out whenever he could. Honestly, just great counter jungling, making sure Will of D can't affect the lanes like an early game Elise can do, and they were just able to steamroll all their team fights into bigger objectives, taking Drake after Drake, and then eventually taking 2 Barons and couple of towers as well. So we're waiting to start up pro draft here. Now, for Kodo Draco's team, for Garcrush 2, I'd expect to see Will of D on something with a little more engage and team fight prowess rather than the Elise. That's kind of what I'm hoping to see from him. Now, Larry, if he can get on that Wukong and again, get on the Wukong. If not, we've seen him on Zac in the past. Now, Zac was banned in the previous game for that very reason. Larry is amazing at Zac. So, if he can get on one of those two, Zac or Wukong, then I'm pretty sure that Larry can just repeat what he did in the previous game. Just steamroll the jungle, make sure that all the other lanes are taken care of. And then in the top lane, Fiora, like I said, I expect either Fiora or Nico to be banned, one of the two, and I just want Fiora to pick up whichever one they do not ban. He's better at the carry champions. He has played Ornn in the past, but I just haven't been as impressed on him as I have on the carries that he's played. All right, so this is the pro draft. They did ban Fiora, dang it. But they did switch up their bans a little bit. They left the Zac open for Larry, and they did pick that up first chance they could. Now, they did first pick the Wukong. Now, I don't know if that's for Kodo Draco or for Will of D. It could be for either, quite honestly. Wukong is just so good in both of them. And then Needlessly Large Rod, sticking with that Gnar ban, along with the Affilio, Senna, banning the Zoe, and an Aatrox to this time. So they're expecting that Wukong to go in the jungle. And see, there it is, the Nico ban. I knew they were going to ban one or the other, but they did end up banning both. But now we have Calavir on Vayne, and we have Keaton Factor on Kai'Sa. So Keaton Factor did perform very well last game. So hopefully with Kai'Sa, he will be able to carry the game just a little bit more. Now, they are sticking with the Nautilus support. which is great with Kai'Sa because Kai'Sa's passive. She gets stacks for any time an enemy champion is CC'd. So Nautilus has 3 forms of CC. He's got his hook, his passive, and his ultimate. So honestly, so many ways to get stacks. And there's the Akali that we saw. They were flashing it before last game, and now they finally came out with it, which is really exciting because she's got such a high skill ceiling that watching good Akali players is an art. All right, and then we have a Camille coming out, and I assume that's going to be for Kodo Draco in the top lane, meaning that Wukong is going to be for Will of D. And Camille has been played in the jungle in the past, but it's been a while, honestly, like a whole season that Camille has been seen in the jungle. Whereas Wukong, he's relatively common in the jungle. That's where I'd expect them to go. But it could also be Wukong mid, Akali top lane. So honestly, the flex picks, there's just too many. And last pick for Needlessly Large Rods is the Galio. I'd expect that to go mid lane, so in the hands of Death. Either that or Irelia is going to be going mid with Galio in the top lane, which is great because it means that either Death or Fiora is going to be on a carry. Now, honestly, Irelia is similar to Akali, that just watching players that are good at her is an art. It's absolutely beautiful to see how they dash, how to set up the daggers, and also the ultimate is just so good in team fights. So I'm hoping it's in the hands of Fiora, and that Galio is in the hands of Death. Death performed so well on that Ornn last game. Doing the tanks with the CC is just something that Death is really good at, and honestly, I didn't expect him to be good at, because we've seen him on several carries. My favorite being Syndra. He has performed so well on that Syndra. Interesting here. So it does look to be the Camille in the jungle, Will of D. So Camille ganks are pretty scary just because her dash range is so far that it can come out of the blue. But on the same hand, Zac is probably my least favorite jungler to go against, because he can just take these weird angles that you can never ward and catch you completely by surprise. So both Camille and Zac expect to be seeing great ganks coming out of our junglers here today. And it is Fiora on the Aurelia. Awesome. Another carry for Fiora. This is stuff that I like to see. Now that bot lane too, I've always thought that Kai'Sa is kind of just the newer version of Vayne. They are very similar in their abilities and playstyles. I feel like Vayne is a little bit harder and has a little bit higher of a skill ceiling, but Kai'Sa does have a lot more range and follow-up when it comes to her ultimate, whereas Vayne, I just feel like she has a 1v9 potential when she starts up her ult. Now, we do have Big Ben here on the Braum. He did have a great game last game, blocking and soaking up tons of damage for the squishier members, for the squishier rods. So, honestly, I'm not dissatisfied to see him on Braum again. McDoodles also did have a great game as well. He did have a lot of great engages. His depth charges were on point, in my opinion, always knocking up the most detrimental member of their team, knocking up a lot of people along the way as well. And he did have a lot of great catches as well, not only in laning phase, but also there was one time in the river where he got a great catch. And unfortunately, Needlessly Large Rods did turn that fight around, but that original catch was because of McDoodles. So both the supports stay the same, and like I said, I am not dissatisfied one bit to see both of them on the same supports. So what I'd expect here is Garchomp 1 to do the same thing that he did in the previous game. Just come out, swing in, get the most damage again, and take on this Galio in the mid lane. Death, now Galio does have innate magic resist and a magic shield. It's the passive on his W. So that will be kind of a deterrent for Akali. She won't be able to one-shot Galio, so to speak. But just the constant throwing of Qs and maneuvering in and out of her smoke, not getting CC'd by the Galio, is something that she definitely needs to show here in this game. In the top lane, Irelia. So they did switch. It is Camille in the top lane. That's kind of what I expected. Camille in the top lane, Wukong in the jungle. So Will of D saying, whatever you can do, I can do better. Taking the Wukong for himself. Let's see if he can show Larry that he can play Wukong too, that he can carry the game as well. Larry, on the other hand, tried and true on the Zac, has had great games on the Zac before, just given teams kills. In fact, I believe he won one of Jason's MVPs 2 weeks ago in the games that we casted. I believe Larry did win his MVP, so I'm expecting him to come with that same fire, with that same fierceness, getting ganks, spreading love to his team, namely Fiora and Calavir in this game. What's awesome as well is they do have kind of the same follow-up and team fight prowess that they did last game, the Needlessly Large Rods do, with Galio's ultimate. He did just get buffed recently as well, where he will give his magic resist from his W, the passive on his W, to all the champions within the circle of his ult. So if a team fight starts and Galio can get all his team members under his circle, then Kai'Sa and Akali won't be doing much damage to any of them. So let's hope Death can pull off some great ultimates here. We're just waiting for the spectator delay here. We have about 10 more seconds until we hop into Game 2 of the semifinals. Garcrush 2, Needlessly Large Rods. Let's see if Garcrush 2 can come out and bring the series back in their favor, or if Needlessly Large Rods can push us to honestly just take the series lossless. That'd be something that would be absolutely crazy, because it's the last thing that we expect, honestly. Garcrush 2 had just showed up during the regular season. I believe they took down Needlessly Large Rods every single time they played them in the regular season. So if Needlessly Large Rods can pull this off, it will be amazing. It will be the greatest games they've probably ever played. So just waiting here to hop into Summoner's Rift. Honestly, Garcrush 2, you think that they have a kind of a fire underneath them, because there has been like a lot of kind of back and forth going between Down to Flash and Garcrush 2. They are kind of rivaling it out, so to speak. So if Garcrush 2 can't make it there to see them in the finals, I'm sure all 5 of them are just going to be severely disappointed. So they need to come out swinging. They need to show Needlessly Large Rods that they are the better team, that they are not the underdogs in this fight. All right, so we have Needlessly Large Rods doing what Needlessly Large Rods do. They sit in this bush every single game, looking for any potential picks. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Garcrush 2 is going to give them any of that. They're just doing their normal line of symmetry start. There were no deep wards coming out.
Minions have spawned.
So it looks like it's going to be dark on the side of both of them. Will of D is looking to do a topside start. Nope, he is pathing towards the bot lane. So it's going to be a bot side start for both Larry and Will of D here. And then Death and Fiora just making sure that Larry's red is unharmed. Fiora did throw the ward on her red. Garchomp 1 just putting out some damage here early. That's what it is with the call. If you can just spam those Qs and get Galio low enough to the point where you can burst him down, then this lane is going to be piece of cake cake for Garchomp 1. In the times that I've played Galio, though, my lane opponent has severely underestimated the damage coming out of Galio. He can do insane amounts of damage with literally not a lot of items. And we got Fiora here getting engages, dashing back and forth onto Kodo, getting some good damage. Ooh, and Big Ben is taken down. We couldn't quite see what exactly happened there, but the Ignite did come out of McDoodles, as well as the Flash coming out of Keaton Factor. That is first blood going over to Keaton Factor. He was one of the major players in the last game, so it's great to see him getting a couple more kills on a champ that can 1v9, that can carry games. Fiora, she knows something's up. And something is up. We do have Will of D in the tri-bush. That's getting fairly low here. Garchomp 1 just sitting in the fog. We do have Larry coming in, though, and the taunt does go a little wide, but Larry gets a nice stretching strikes on Garchomp 1. Will of D was there if the fight went on any longer, though. So it's a good thing that Needlessly Large Rods aren't pushing their luck. And there is a slight gold advantage in the favor of Garcrush 2.
Opportunity rewards those who wait.
And Death and Larry just trying to get Garchomp 1, and they can't take him down. Flash comes out from both of them, Larry and Garchomp 1, but they aren't able to finish him off. Death is so low, and Will of D takes him down. That's just greed, quite honestly. Needlessly Large Rods stayed a little bit longer than they should have, getting way too low, and Larry getting greedy for the Flash. They knew that Garchomp 1 did have his Flash still. So honestly, that was just greed. I think they're just letting that last win get into their heads. And Needlessly Large Rods just pushing their lead a little bit further. They're almost 1,000 gold ahead at 5 minutes into the game. That is a huge lead. McDoodles here looking for a cheeky hook, but can't quite find Calavir or Big Ben. Yeah, this is really unfortunate that they're just pushing him off the wave like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the solo cast is over. You no longer have to listen to my voice alone. Jason is in the house.
It's how it goes, and so we're here. Yeah, it looks like Garcrush 2 against Needlessly Large Rods. The first game with Needlessly Large Rods was so intense, so just dominating in that first half. Wow, good.
Yeah, look at that. McDoodles gets taken down. He gets condemned into the wall, and Calavir finishes him off.
That should be it.
Where's that last auto? There it is. Good stuff.
We're always expecting Vayne to have higher attack speed, but you know, in that early game, it's pretty slow.
Oh, and Kodo Draco getting some damage off on Fiora. Gets solo, has to flash.
Wow.
Oh, but he misses the stun, and he goes in and takes him down. Throws out the ultimatum, Hextech ultimatum, and takes him down. Honestly, I think Needlessly Large Rods is just getting a little too cocky in a lot of these fights. They had so much domination in the first game, and that's just carried on into this game. This play, for example, look at that. So the ult does come in from Death,
Okay.
and Larry does get it, but he is going to be taken down. His passive is pop. Bloblets are going to be taken down fairly quick here. Kodo Draco did teleport Bob. We do have a teleport coming in.
Save him.
That is from Death, but it was just short-lived. Death coming in for another knock-up and taunt, but they are just taken down one by one.
Now that was, I think Needlessly Large Rods got a little, they got the drag and they're like, no, I think we can turn the rest of this fight around. And so that when that TP did come in from Kodo Draco, that was just way too much greed in my opinion. That it was a scuffed fight. Just end it, get away, try to mitigate your loss. But no, they wanted to get more. They thought they could get more. But now it's a 7-1 start, and it's only 7 minutes into this game. That's a lot of gold already in the pocket of Garcrush too. So we almost have a full almost a full smite or jungle item there for Will of D. And then already a pickaxe coming up for.
Ooh, we got Death coming in with a full combo, knock up into a taunt.
Close.
But not quite. And Fiora is just getting taken down by Kodo Draco here on this Camille. This may be Fiora's bane. Kodo Draco coming in.
Wow.
Honestly, Fiora won last game with the Nico, and Kodo Draco said, okay, we'll ban the Nico, we'll put you on something different, and I will take you down.
The nice thing about that was Kodo Draco was so patient when the ultimate came down from Fiora, because then she did proc her damage mitigation ability, which then Kodo Draco just waited that out, held his damage until after, and then jumped right back onto Fiora, and so that just all the damage was right there, right on top of Fiora, and there was another kill going down for Kodo Draco. He's 2-0-3 at this point. Holy smokes.
Yeah, good stuff, because he wasn't performing last game, and this game he's just coming in. Ooh, and we got Will of D coming in, knocking Death up. Can't quite do enough damage. Galio is a tanky gargoyle.
He'll only get tankier.
that's how it is. And Larry taking advantage of Will of D's presence in the mid lane, getting Rift Herald. Good stuff, just capitalizing on the enemy jungler's positioning.
Looks like Fiora here was trying to just freeze at her tower, but we'll see what happens. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, Death coming in with the taunt and knock up, but honestly, Akali's heal and sustain in lane is ridiculous. Even if you do win a trade, you're gonna end up losing the trade just because of the heals.
All right, and we do have a vamp set there already for her, so I mean that's even added to it. And then Fiora, trying to just maintain this this freeze here.
And Kodo Draco did back. He already has his Tiamat, so his push is going to be a lot stronger. Eventually, he'll be able to look to roam, namely in the mid lane, hopefully helping Akali take down that gargoyle.
Along with that, as you're talking, with that ability to push, Fiora is going to have a hard time if he's trying to freeze that lane now, because he's ultimately condemning himself to his lane. He can never get out of his lane because Kodo Draco will just keep pushing and pushing, and then roam or TP, have a presence on other parts of the map, and he's just stuck there farming under tower.
We got Will of D getting knocked low, but they can't take him down. Knockup comes up a little short.
Close. That was very close.
Yeah, I think that's Will of D's third visit in the mid lane.
But we do see that Will of D did show up for the mid lane, and it looks like he's going to try and get some vision of her on the bottom side of the map so that they have better advantage on this Drake that is coming up probably in the next 30 seconds or so. Ooh.
But Larry stretching strikes and misses. He pulls out the ultimate, but and Galio's coming in. They're kind of split though. Calavir comes in, misses the condemn, can't quite stun the Akali. She's kind of just bouncing around. Death Charge does knock up Calavir, and holy cow, Keaton Factor coming in and just eliminating them.
Keaton Factor just coming in clutch with his ultimate right there, able to take down Calavir practically immediately. Calavir was at pretty much full health that entire time until his hunter was procced, and then he jumped right on top of him.
Yeah, what's pretty rough is if you look at Calavir's and Big Ben's level, they are both 2-3 levels under their lane opponents. And CS isn't much better. Keaton Factor has almost twice the CS that Calavir has.
Yeah, it does not look like a fun lane going on for Calavir right now. We might be taking this to game 3. I don't want to say it too firmly right now. It's only 10 minutes into the game, 12 minutes into the game, but I mean, things are looking super good for Garcrush 2 here in game 2.
Nice trades. Coming out in the mid lane. Yeah, honestly, Garcrush 2 just is coming out swinging this game. And I think what needlessly large rods really need to do is they need to get Calavir set up in the bot lane. Right now, he is just so far behind. He is their damage. Calavir and Fiora are the main sources of damage, and they just haven't been able to do anything. Both Larry and Will of D have been focusing here in the mid lane, and we have an engage coming out, knocking up both Death and Larry. So much damage is coming out. Perfect execution. Well, actually, Will of D took him down, so it wasn't a perfect execution that took him down. We do have Fiora teleporting here, but it's too little too late. Not much Fiora can do here.
That's free push now for Kodo Draco in that top lane. There's only 3 plates left on that turret. Less than a minute left of the until turret plates drop. And so Kodo Draco's going to try and get as much gold as he can, and then or get that first blood tower because of that TP from Fiora. So good pressure from Garcrush too to try to force Fiora in thinking that he needed 2 TP into the mid lane. And now we got a rotation up to that top side. Okay. Yeah, Larry Lovestein coming in to just keep the pressure on Kodo Draco here.
And the slingshot comes out. Stretching Strikes goes a little wide.
Uh-oh.
His passive is up, but I don't think the Fiora can get here in time. And she does. Kodo Draco respecting the Aurelia. Can she get this done? No, she cannot.
Ooh.
Hookshot comes out, and Kodo Draco is out.
That is the passive dropped on Larry Lovestein, so he's got to be he's got to be more careful when it comes to his engages for the next few minutes. But First Blood Tower dropping to the Keaton Factor, getting that extra gold too, since he was the one who took down the turret. And so that is 6-0-3 Kaiser right there with 127 CS. That is just so much gold, so many items already. We have the Manamune and the Ginsu's already procced and ready to rumble for the Keaton Factor. He's just going to be a force to be reckoned with for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and if you look at the levels, Keaton Factor is actually the same level as some of the solo laners. Death in particular. Looks like we have a pause here.
Okay. They might have had some problems going on with the connection of some of the people here, but I mean, we'll try and get back into game as soon as possible. But let's while we got this pause, let's talk about what's looking good for Garcrush 2 right now.
So I'm really proud of Will of D, honestly, this game. He was taken advantage of last game, and he chose the Wukong. He knows that Larry does like this Wukong. He picked it instead, and he is performing a lot better this game on the Elise. I think that is probably the biggest contributing factor to their sudden spike. Now they're just controlling this game.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the Wukong because I don't see a lot of
Holy cow, that engage coming out from Larry. Slingshot's in. The stretching strikes isn't enough. They can't stun up, and Larry just taken down. No passive. He blew that earlier in the top lane, and unfortunately, Garcrush took advantage of that.
The Keaton Factor has so much damage, as well as Garchomp 1, but the Keaton Factor just dealing so much damage in that engage. He actually did pull the flash off of Larry Lovestein as well, and that tower is gone. And so that's just so many resources expended on the side of needlessly large rods that is now wasted and lost a tower for it. I don't know if they know what fights they can take and win quite yet, just because of how they're acting and reacting to these engages right now.
I agree. I definitely think that Larry is feeling the pressure here because he's just looking for something. He's trying to get his team back here in the game, but unfortunately, that's just not how you do it. He ganked Galio and Braum in the mid lane. Who's going to do the damage?
Right.
and there wasn't even much follow-up from either Death or Big Ben there. So unfortunately, I think he's just feeling the pressure, trying to find a way for his team to come back into this game. So Larry, just calm down. Like, it's okay. And even if honestly, my honest opinion is needlessly large rods need to just let this game slide with as little like mental fatigue as possible. Because there's not much hope. There is potential that they can turn fights in the end and get Calavir fed. I mean, Vayne can 1v9.
Yeah.
But
the thing that is just so big-brained, I'll just call it big-brained. Kodo Draco has been hanging out in that top lane, drawing the pressure of Larry Lovestein the entire time that it's given free dragons right here. Will of D was able to snag that dragon without contesting against Larry Lovestein because we already knew he was on the top side of the map. So you just generate vision on the bottom side of the map and their blue on their blue side, and then it's over. It's your dragon. So the silent the silent carry right now is Kodo Draco and just forcing pressure on opposite sides of the map that all of the plays are happening. And so sometimes it's not the glorified route, but hey,
it's
what's necessary.
I think messing up here, launching Rift Herald.
Ooh.
I think he meant to do it over the wall, but unfortunately, they just went on the other side of the wall and tried to walk around, and needlessly large rods was able to take it down. An objective wasted, but honestly, that's okay with the amount of towers and pressure that Garcrush 2 has. Like you said, Kodo, man, he's just making needlessly large rods feel like that is somewhere that they need to focus.
Hitting up about 18.5 minutes, though. We are 15-1 in the kills. Practically everyone has a bounty on their head except McDoodles. But I mean, he's the support. It's okay if he doesn't have a bounty on his head. And almost 3 full items for the Keaton Factor right now. He's halfway through his Nashor's Tooth, which will give him his last evolve. He already has his Q and his E evolve with the Manamune, the Ginsu's, and then the Stinger. And so just a little bit more, and he'll have his full all 3 Q, W, and E evolves here. And that Q just does so much damage if it's all focused onto one person. It melts people away.
Yeah, this is feeling very reminiscent of the previous game, except completely flipped.
Yeah,
Like
just the different names.
Exactly. Like same situation last game. Needlessly large rods all had bounties.
All right, that tower will melt immediately. Good.
Yep, Big Ben getting hooked up, rooted up. Nothing else happening though. Oh, and Larry comes in trying to look for a knockup, but doesn't quite get it. No stretching strikes to follow up with a stun. Calavir knows that he can't really fight this. He's just hanging out under tower.
Things are not looking. Oh, engage here.
Yep, Larry's getting caught out, gets knocked up, tries to use his ultimate as an escape. Galio coming in with his ultimate does get quite a few knockups. Will of D is getting very low, but he does fall. Calavir gets low as well, but Keaton Factor flashes over the wall and takes him down. Hextech ultimatum out on Galio and does take him down. Garchomp 1 coming in, trying to take him down, and there are 2 return kills on the Keaton Factor and Will of D, but all in all, it's a 4-for-2 trade in the favor of Garcrush 2.
That was such a blunder for needlessly large rods, especially because we had, at this point, Kodo Draco showing up for these team fights, who is already a force to be reckoned with. He has his Trinity Force, his Trinity Force and his Tiamat just dealing so much damage. It's just, it's practically impossible to even engage here on Garcrush 2 with Kodo Draco's immobility and the damage coming through from Keaton Factor. McDoodles just CCing their carries at any moment, and now there's no pressure anywhere for needlessly large rods. Kodo Draco's snagging all of the jungle as much jungle as he can, and Larry Lovestein really hindered at this point. 0-3 and 2 for Larry.
Larry is spotted out here by Will of D, but he does not engage. He doesn't know where the rest of the team is. He has no idea where Fiora or Big Ben are. So good calls, playing it safe, not letting needlessly large rods have a chance to get back into this game. And McDoodle's just doing what supports do.
Take damage.
Freezing the wave to let their ADCs come in and get some money.
Yeah, you don't want that crashing tower. That's gold wasted. It's harder to farm it under tower.
And Keaton Factor did finish his Gnasher's Tooth. He is feeling fantastic. 3 full items, Berserker's Greaves. He is going to be outputting an outrageous amount of damage.
Especially because now he does have the upgraded Manamune into Muramana, and that just deals so much additional damage based on how much mana he has, like his total max mana. And so at this point, Kai'Sa is online. You could next item, you could either pick up an Infinity Edge, or if you want to get more on your auto attacks, or you can get some really AP heavy stack. If you're going to try and drop damage with your abilities. It's kind of it's fun to that's what's fun to play with on Kai'Sa.
Oh, we got engaged here. Hextech Ultimating come out on Big Ben, but he does pop the Glacial Fissure. Keaton Factor did go underneath the tower. Galio knocks all of them up. Garchomp is getting low. They are fighting under turret, but the Death Charge does knock up Death, and he is taken down. But Calavir is here. He has ulted. He is putting out some good damage, but he is the last one alive. He does take down quite a few of the members. 2 actually only. Wow, honestly, I thought that fight was a lot more even, but it was completely in the favor of Garcrush 2. Keaton Factor just popping off on this Kai'Sa, absolutely eliminating the needlessly large rods.
Now, yeah, as you said, it did look like it could have been a little bit more even because there was damage being dropped by Calavir. He was able to knock down McDoodles and Kodo Draco, but Kai'Sa was already online. The Keaton Factor was able to melt down the tanks that were already dead by the time that Calavir was there for the fight, and then Will of D with his knockup was able to just stop any tumbles to occur for Calavir, or any motion, any kiting in that nature, and just the Keaton Factor following up, getting the damage down. So it was a scuffed fight, and it looked pretty good for a second, but no, it was not. It was nowhere near close for needlessly large rods.
All right, that looks like that's all that's going to happen there. Got a little scared there as Big Ben was approaching Will of D and Garchomp 1, both sitting in a bush backing. But luckily, they didn't follow up on anything. Now, Calavir is in a pretty dangerous spot here.
It's just trying to protect these inhibitors right now. They might be able to, but it's a 5 versus 5 stack right now.
Oh, and Will of D coming in with a great knockup, knocking up 4 of the members. Calavir does dodge the Death Charge, but Keaton Factor just doing so much damage. But they may be able to take him. Nope, that just ridiculous amounts. There is just nothing needlessly large rods can do against Keaton Factor. Just too big.
Now this was actually an ambitious play from the Keaton Factor that came out in his favor. He jumped in with his ultimate into the heart of the damage from needlessly large rods, as well as the CC that comes from these needlessly large rods. Larry and Big Ben were there, and he was still able to kite around their CC, take down Calavir, and then grab the ace right here, and it looks like they might just finish out the game now. No, they're walking away.
Yep,
they're going to walk away.
Calavir, Big Ben, and Death are all back up, so playing it safe, not risking anything. Honestly, good solid plays.
I could respect that. I just thought they'd go for it,
Well, when you're this far ahead, I mean.
Might as well, but 25 minutes into this game, it's 29 kills to 6 kills. This, if it was a solo queue game, would be a forfeit at 15 easily, but we'll just wait till for what looks like we'll wait for maybe one more fight and then maybe the end of the game here. Oh my word. Okay, if we can see here in the items here, Fiora still just has first tier boots. No upgrade on those boots. I don't know if he's not sure what he wants to do. I don't know if he's trying to get his completed items here because he does have a Blade of the Ruined King as well as the Trinity Force. But still, just his boots aren't, he wasn't able to do anything to upgrade his boots yet.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, especially because the defensive boots offer so much in the terms of whatever comp you're going against, like Tabbies or the, I can't remember the magic resist ones.
Mercurial, I don't know how to say
Treads?
them.
Is it Treads?
Treads, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Mercury Treads. I just call them Mercs.
Yeah, that's what they're called, Mercs. So,
Mercurials? No, that's that's Mercurial Scimitar.
But they, yeah, I mean, either way, whichever one, like the game calls for, they just offer so much.
Yeah.
And plus, they give you the extra movement speed. Like, it's just not the smartest thing. The Fiora hasn't bought boots yet, but she's got more important things on her mind.
Needlessly large rods trying to go for that dragon, but 3 in that top lane. Forcing him to back right now.
Yep, and Kodo Draco stopping all 3 of them here.
Wow.
Big Ben trying to force Kodo Draco off the other 2.
He's just going to... Big Ben, you're gone, dude.
Does get the concussive blows off on it, but I don't think they're going to be able to do anything about that. Big Ben falls, but they do prolong the game just a little bit longer. They do back in time to... And Death throwing out a little bit of BM, and he is getting punished for it. Death Charge comes out. He does get a knock-up and a taunt, though, onto both Kodo Draco and McDoodles. Ooh. McDoodles does get low. One Stretching Strikes goes on to Garchomp 1, but they can't finish anything off. Kodo Drake or Calavir does go gold. Garchomp 1 can't finish him off. Larry gets low, is taken down. Perfect execution out on Calavir. Garchomp 1 goes golden, takes down Calavir. And Garcrush 2 take down everyone from Needlessly Large Rods without losing a single person on their team. This should be the end of the game. Just crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, getting all the inhibitors. Now all they need to do is get the last 2 turrets, and this should be game.
Biggest problem that Needlessly Large Rods have had this game, and we saw it in that fight in the bot side, is that they couldn't lock down the Keaton factor. There was that was a very scary engage for Garcrush 2. It was kind of them BMing the whole idea, and they could have died easily. But you can see when they engaged, when Needlessly Large Rods engaged on those 3 in the bot side, Keaton Factor didn't lose a single point of health. He was still full health that entire time, and that was that is the epitome of the entire game, is that the Keaton Factor was untouchable.
Absolutely ridiculous. Keaton Factor popping off this game, doing so well, keeping his team in the series. I also got to throw props to Kodo Drake, though. He definitely improved from last game. And Will of D showing that he can jungle, actually getting ganks off, securing kills. Larry was unfortunately not able to do much that game. He was, in my opinion, the MVP of the previous game, but this game he just couldn't do anything. I think he focused a little bit too much in the mid lane, and unfortunately, it's pretty hard to gank in a Kali. Those damage charts, though.
26,000 damage dealt to champions here. The Keaton Factor just was so online early on in that game. Had those 2 items. In Kai'Sa, I mean, it gets obviously more powerful every item she gets, but when she has the moment she has 2 items, it is just it's game over for the mid game right there. Kai'Sa commands the mid game if she has 2 items within 15 minutes, and so good stuff coming in through from the Keaton Factor here. Yeah, and just doing what ADC do best, just sit in the back line, deal that damage.
Yeah, good stuff. Honestly, honestly, Keaton Factor, in my opinion, he was my MVP. What about you, Jason?
No, I believe so. That is mine as well. The Keaton Factor doing so much work, finding the great positioning in every team fight. When needed, he would ult right into the perfect angle, snag the back line. But also, I will give an honorable mention to Kodo Draco, who drew so much pressure away from the rest of what was going on on the map. He wasn't there for the team fights, but that's okay because his split push was all there as well, and forcing Larry to have to show up and most of the time die.
Yep.
Show up in that top lane, and then there was a free dragon. There was a free tower spot and mid lanes, and then I mean they did lose. Let's see here, Garcrush 2 did lose one Rift Herald.
Yep.
I think, and that's it.
That was it. Larry was able to secure one Rift Herald. Besides that, all Drakes. And I'm not even sure if they could get any towers. They might have gotten 1 or 2 towers as well, but that's about it.
We're going into Game 3 now, though.
We're going to Game 3.
So this is for all the marbles.
It is for all the marbles, and Garcrush 2 does have the momentum coming into this game.
Yes.
They just came off a great win. They're feeling great about themselves. I expect them to come into this next game, do the exact same thing, show them that they are the better team. Needlessly Large Rods, on the other hand, I think the majority of the game is going to be decided in the draft.
Yeah.
I think that they need to get their hands on Wukong or ban him out instead. Try to put Will of D on that Elise again. He's obviously not as comfortable as he is on Wukong.
Yep.
So if they can put Will of D on something that he's a little less comfortable on, I think they stand a great chance. Keaton Factor, on the other hand, he performed great on Tristana and he performed great on Kai'Sa. I'm not sure if there's any stopping that man.
We will have to see, and we will come back after a short break. The Needlessly Large Rods does have choice on which side they want, so we'll come back with their choice in about 5 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. Officially introduced. Jason is officially
I'm officially introduced.
here. Shay YT still here. Getting ready for the third game. They brought us to a third
Best
game.
of 3.
Yeah, best of 3. So we were talking about kind of the win conditions for both of the teams. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Needlessly large rods really had a struggle bus this second game, which means what they need to change is Fiora and Death. Those are the two biggest problems I think that happened for needlessly large rods. Death was on a tank, which at some points, we do have Galio be a great frontline, but just was not working, especially with the Keaton factor melting him so quickly.
Yep.
And then Fiora was on a champion he's not comfortable with. I mean, he might play Aurelia quite a bit, but he was not comfortable in that moment. He was farming under tower, which he should have been opposing the lane or pushing the lane, allowing himself to roam a little bit more. And so those are the two big things: is that Fiora and Death need to shake up what they've been doing in their lanes. Get Death on a carry, give Fiora a tank. Those maybe are two, or that's an option of what they can do. But I think they need to shake up what Fiora and Death are doing.
Yes, for sure. I mean, Death has played a lot of carries in the past, Syndra being one of them, performing very well on her. So I'd like to see Death on something like that. And Fiora has played Ornn in the past and performed pretty well. So I could see I could see Fiora going Ornn as well. And then also in the hands of Larry, they did give up the Wukong because of first pick. They didn't ban it because I think they were assuming to pick that up for Larry. And again, it is not banned. Oh, it is banned on the side of Garcrush too. But guess what is open for the first time? Fiora.
Okay, I was like, I don't know. I mean,
Fiora?
There's 150 champions to pick, but we get the Nico down. That might go for Fiora.
Oh, this is crazy because I definitely wanted to see Fiora on Fiora.
Yeah, maybe we'll get it. Maybe we won't. That could still be for Death. The Nico is still a solid flex pick, so I mean, we'll have to see. Okay, we got a Akali down. I assume that sorry. I just got totally mixed up with names.
Oh yeah, Garcrush 2 and Needlessly Large Rods. Nico is first picked, I assume, for Fiora. And then Akali, which Garchomp 1 did perform very well on her last time. Really, Death couldn't do much, even with the Galio, where you can kind of taunt the Akali out of her Shroud. Yeah, they just couldn't do anything. So I'm kind of happy to see her on Akali again.
Okay, we do have the Nunu and Willump pick here on Needlessly Large Rods for the jungle, so that's a completely different pick. A lot of good engages coming in from River, or even down the lane. You can just have that snowball cruising and then just soak up so much damage, along with Braum being able to soak damage as well. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. The Nautilus, once again, is picked for Garcrush 2, and then Ezreal, that's a different pick. The Keaton factor going in for something a little bit different, and Ezreal instead of the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, Ezreal is a very strong pick right now. He was buffed because no runes really fit his playstyle. So they kind of just threw a bit of extra damage into his kit and called it good. So he does do quite a bit of damage. Especially like his WQ combo just is like an abnormal amount of damage in my opinion. Like whenever I go against an Ezreal, I always underestimate the damage of his WQ.
Yeah.
So honestly, not surprised to see the Ezreal.
We do have the Caitlyn banned out. Oh, Kai'Sa was banned. I didn't notice that. My bad. I was like, whoa, they didn't pick Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa was banned. But we got Caitlyn and Fiora dropped, trying to force that Nico into that top lane, I assume.
Yep. We haven't seen Death yet on the Nico, so I mean honestly it's not like it'd be surprising if Death went mid, in my opinion, especially because Fiora has performed so well on Nico in the past that I would be surprised to see Death take the Nico from Fiora.
Mm. All right, so we have all bans down. A few top lane bans here. We will have to see. I mean, they're saving their top lane picks for last, and a Jarvan 4 dropping in. I assume will be for jungle. I've personally seen Jarvan in just about every different role, which is always off meta, but I do see a lot of Jarvan in the top lane, so we could have that flex pick still. The Tristana coming down for Calavir and Syndra.
There it is. Awesome. Death on a carry. Honestly, I think that is the best champion that I've seen him play is Syndra. And Syndra can just take over a game. If they can get a couple kills, they can one-shot any squishy on the side of Garcrush 2. That includes Akali, Ezreal, and then their last pick, we're looking at a top later, I would assume, unless this Jarvan does go top. But it does look like Jarvan jungle, maybe Akali top.
Yeah.
It could also be Akali top. I mean, Ahri top against the Nico. I'm not quite sure how that matchup would go. I mean, Nico and Ahri both go to the mid lane too occasionally. So, honestly, I mean, we could be seeing Kodo Draco on the Akali. We could be seeing Garcrush 1 on the Akali. We have no idea yet. This will tell us.
This
is the
official
roadmap.
client. The official client of the day. This could go pretty much any way. There are 2 control mages in that top end mid lane. So whoever takes the Akali is going to have a little bit of a rough time. I mean, that's the control mages, that's their whole job is to control, especially controlling assassins. And so if you can get some early picks with the Akali, that would be nice, but it's going to be a tough lane if it's kind of going even for the first few levels. And so we shall see. Kodo Draco. Oh, they're still banning. I thought they finished bans. And I was like, Kodo Draco picking? No.
And Keat Factor did play Tristana in the first game, and they had the side of Needlessly Large Rods pushed under the turret the entire laning phase. And in fact, I think they did get first turret as well because the Tristana siege is just absolutely ridiculous. One of the best siegers in the game, probably second to Caitlyn, but Caitlyn was banned. So,
yeah. No, yeah, the great pick here for Calavir. I think this will help create pressure in that bot side lane, maybe try and contest those dragons a little bit more because the Vayne just wasn't enough last game. It looks like it will be the Akali top, so Kodo Draco taking Akali, and then Nico is going on to Fiora and Syndra. Yeah, okay, so it's shaking out just about what we would assume.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy.
Yep, this is like what I would have guessed would have happened. I think it is the best comp for both teams. Syndra mid, Nico top, Akali top, Ahri mid. Now Kodo Draco, they're trying to find an answer to this Nico. They definitely got beaten by it last game. So let's see if the Akali pick is the answer.
Yeah, we will have to see. Finally getting the Ezreal, the Tristana down. We're almost there. Get us into game.
In the third game.
As much as we love how these work out, trying to get these champs in, it's like, all right, let's just do it. Let's get into game.
And this is the third game as well of Big Ben on Braum and McDoodles on Nautilus. These poor supports have had to play the same champion every single game.
I mean, maybe they like it.
Yeah,
maybe they love it.
It's I guess so. That's kind of the unfortunate story of supports though, is you don't always get the kind of the what is it called? Like you don't get choice. Like they're looking for the carries. They're trying to pick the carries first.
Right.
And then the support is kind of just set by the wayside.
As long as they're just a ball of stats, that's what they get. Just walk in front of everything. Take as many shots as you can without dying. You'll take a lot of shots.
And Braum can also block the Ezreal ult and stop it from hitting any other members of Needlessly Large Rods. So, good pick, honestly. Even though he's picked it every single game, it is a good, solid pick.
I do agree. Yeah, Braum will be. I don't know how much Garcrush 2 thought about that, but Braum will be very pivotal in every engage for needlessly large rods, because Ezreal will try to use that ultimate as frequently as possible to either thin out waves, to get some poke damage on the team before any major engages, or go for some snipes. And if Braum can still be alive, be there, and get his unbreakable shield, then it's Ezreal has turned into nothing but a close range damage bot, you know.
Jason, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yes, I am. We have the Tristana showing up for Death, and then Calavir going. I think Death's going to be in that bot lane still, but I could be wrong.
You could be wrong. Syndra is a played bot laner. She has been played several times in LCS in the bot lane. In fact, she's a target ban for some of the LCS teams right now in semifinals and finals. And then Tristana mid it's been a thing pretty much all season. So interesting. I wonder if it's going to be Tristana mid, or like you said, if the Tristana is actually going to be going bot lane. And they switched at the last second, I'm assuming, to throw off the Ahri and Ezreal when they were picking their runes. So they picked armor instead of magic resist and vice versa.
Right.
They literally switched at the last 2 seconds.
That's a sneaky move. I know LCS does have rules on swapping characters 20 seconds before the timer runs out. But I don't know if we don't have any rules on that, so.
Yep, GameTyrant likes to play it spicy. We like to do what you want with the time that you have. We give you all of the time that there is. Ooh, needlessly large rods are winning the vote again. They've got some supporters now.
They've really shown up. They've been creative with their plays. Last game was just a rough one for them. I think that needlessly large rods could take it this time. However, Garcrush 2 has a cast that we haven't particularly seen yet with the Ezreal, the Ahri, and the Jarvan, I would say. And so it's really, in my opinion, up in the air. Give me a second to think about it, who I want to win, or who I think is going to win.
Yeah, and no one really expected needlessly large rods to come into this series and actually take it. They in the season they lost every single game to Garcrush 2. And then they come in this series and win game 1. And they didn't just win it, they absolutely dominated it, taking almost every single Drake, couple Rifts, Baron. Like, they just destroyed the game. So it's exciting to see the team that you don't expect to perform so darn well.
I absolutely agree. Needlessly large rods in that first game was so dominant in Garcrush 2. They had a better late game composition, but their execution was lackluster. And then second game coming through, it was pretty much the exact same but opposite. You know, we had Garcrush 2 who was dominating, and they were expecting the Vayne to show up and deal the damage, but the execution for needlessly large rods that time was lackluster. And so now we're coming into game 3 with some shakeups on both sides of the teams. We have Garcrush 2 just with champions we haven't seen them play, and then we have maybe a Syndra bot lane right now unless Death decides to swap to that bot side.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, that switch, I'm still kind of speechless about it. I'm not quite sure how to think about it, especially because we've never seen Calavir play any sort of AP carry in the ball lane. We've seen him play pretty standard AD carries in the past. So seeing him on something like this, something that's kind of off meta, it's a little bit alarming, but I mean, if they trust each other to do it, then I trust them as well. Needlessly large rods, show us you can do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think Fiora does have a pick also with the Nico. I think a comfortable pick for him. And so maybe, the Akali could really be a big problem, but I think Needlessly Large Rods has this game. They've got kind of more of a spicy pick for themselves. So we shall see. And I think so. We should be loading into Summoner's Rift at any second at this point.
Yes. So your prediction, your absolute prediction, no flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win our third and final game of the series?
I think it's going to be Needlessly Large Rods as well, as the audience was saying.
Yep. I have to stick with my rods. I've been with them since they started. Loved watching them play. Now that they're the underdogs, I like voting for the underdogs.
Right.
I definitely throwing my towel in for them. I think that they can do it.
It's all weighted on their side. Hopefully,
Well.
we'll have to see once we get in 2.5. Rabadon's Death Caps up against Garcrush 2. I think that's their next. That's gonna be their next.
That's like their evolved form.
Their evolved form is 2.5 Death Caps.
2.5 Death Caps. And what's crazy too is there's quite a bit on the line for Garcrush too. They are expected to be in the finals along with Down to Flash. So, like, I think from their perspective, it's a little more dire. The fact that they lost a game is a little bit unnerving.
Yeah.
Because they were ready to win. They thought that they had it, but then needlessly large rods comes in and kind of pushes them around a little bit, and they got a little scared. So hopefully they can turn it on this game.
Yeah, we do have momentum for Garcrush 2, though. They did get with the win last game. I would assume they are just going to be more comfortable with the idea that they can just take this third game easy.
And it does. Death is lining up in the mid lane, so I think it's going to be Death mid and Calavir bot with the Syndra.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. As much as I'm voting for needlessly large rods, I'm thinking they're gonna win. I always hate it when there's mages in that bot lane.
Yeah.
Just so much lockdown potential with Syndra and with Braum, with the concussions and the stuns from Calavir. It's going to be something else.
Yeah, and I have been playing a little bit more ADC recently, but really the only ADC I like to play is Ashe.
Okay.
And so I have, like, Vlad is my backup. So I am a little bit experienced with, like, an AP carry in the bot lane. But I don't know. We'll see how Calavir can do.
I love we got double Tristana in the mid and top lane right now because of the Nico clone. I'm sure they know what the ruse is all about, though. They're not dissuaded by that idea.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Fiora. You're not confusing anybody. Even though your name is Fiora, you look like a Tristana, but you're really a Nico. All right, well, I mean, everything seems pretty standard here. It looks like there was an attempted gank by Larry in the mid lane, but they weren't quite able to do anything. Calavir is pushed under tower here. This is kind of what was worrying me, because this is what's happened in both games so far in the bot lane.
No, that's the one thing. Calavir, I would assume, would be able to clear waves faster than Ezreal would. But, I mean, as of right now, we do see the Keaton factor pushing forward. Maybe it is Calavir trying to just get the wave in a position like this right here, frozen right at the curve of bot lane. But we shall see. We do have another wave coming through that will be a solid push for Needlessly Large at this point. And we have Jarvan behind them, as we can see on those Krugs. And now it looks like he'll be just behind that wall on the bot side. But there is a ward that might be able to spot him out just in time.
They do have a very big wave here, though. It is pushing.
Will of D, what are you doing?
And there is a pretty big minion advantage on the Keaton factor side of things. He has a huge wave here, and he's already 3 CS ahead of Calavir. Oop, and we have Will of D coming in.
There it is.
Flag and drag, taking him down, hooking him up. Big Ben gets low ignited, but he does not go down.
That is the flash coming down from Big Ben, though. A solid flash, a good one, so that Ezreal could tag him with his Q. But good stuff coming in, forcing that flash out of Big Ben and Calavir.
Yep, no flashes in the bot lane, so they are very vulnerable, especially as a Syndra. There's really, you have no mobility. You do have a little bit of disengage, but besides that, you are very vulnerable lane.
We do have that push on the bot side, so I don't know, that Drake, the Drake is coming up probably within the next 30 seconds or so. And so we'll have to see where priorities lie in the mid and bot lane to see who can rotate first to this dragon. But we do have, once again, Fiora pushing super hard, super well against Cutterbreaker there in the top lane.
Yeah, that just shows her confidence on the champion, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that she can push like that, and she also knows that Larry is right there if anything happens. Counter gank is available if Will of D does show up. But Will of D is pathing towards Dragon.
Okay, Cloud Drake is up. Will of D is there. I assume Will. He's backing. I was expecting him to kind of try and get a gank off and then maybe rotate towards that dragon, but no, it looks like he'll just back reset for a second, and now Larry Leftstein will be showing up in the bot side jungle as well to get some vision down on the dragon.
Yeah, I definitely like the decision that Will of D made. They did have pressure in both mid lane and bot lane. They had priority in both those lanes, so they would have been able to respond faster on the side of needlessly large rods. So it was a good decision to not start that Drake up. But now it does look like... Oh, man, perfect execution coming out of Kodo Draco. He can't quite finish off Fiora, though. They're both at about the same health, 3/4. And when we have Larry coming here with this biggest snowball ever, getting this stun from Calavir. McDoodles gets low, gets concussed blows, and he's low, but can they finish him off? He's running. And the flash comes out, but he's followed by Larry. He gets the knockup with the biggest snowball ever. Takes a bite, but can't take him down. Garcrush 1 is here to respond. Big Ben is low, but the charm misses. Keaton Factor follows up with the Mystic Shots, takes him down. Larry is stuck. A charm should be coming up, but he does get out with the biggest snowball ever.
That was ambitious coming in from needlessly large rods right there. I mean, they almost got the kill on McDoodles, but his shield, the Nautilus shield pops just in time for that chomp to drop and kept him alive. We saw that there was still just a sliver of health on the shield and then a little bit of health still for McDoodles. He's able to survive that. And Big Ben was the one who fell because of the great, I would say, target selection coming in from the Keaton Factor. Was able to deal quite a bit of damage here. And so now we have the Keaton Factor back with half of his item here. He's got a tier that he's trying to stack as quickly as possible. And then 2 amplifying tomes coming in from Syndra. Quite a bit of CS difference on that bot lane, and even a little bit on the mid lane. I'm surprised that Death isn't able to farm a little bit better in this mid lane.
Yeah, and this has happened in the last 2 games as well. Just the bot lane, they get pushed under tower, and then they get the wave frozen against them, and they just don't really know how to respond to it. They don't know how to break the freeze. So it is unfortunate, especially now that we have Calavir on kind of like a less mobile champion, and it doesn't look like he's as comfortable CSing with this Syndra than he is with some of the other champions. I've seen him miss a couple of cannon minions. Ooh, but we got McDoodles here getting a little over ambitious, getting stunned up with the concussive blows, and then the Syndra stun does...
Oh, wow.
Will of D is so darn low. But they do get the Drake.
Looks like they snuck it. I don't think they even knew that Will of D was there on the dragon, and then when they noticed that mid lane and bot lane rotated at the last little bit, they're like, oh, that is a dead dragon. And so I do like to see here we have McDoodles with a little bit of magic resist, which is just all he needs right now to survive in this lane against Calavir, and now he's going to be. It's going to be very difficult for Calavir to kill McDoodles. And then the Keep Factor will just keep his distance right now. He'll farm, he'll poke from his distance. Ooh.
Oh man, they did have that warded. They knew that he started it. and their smites do the same amount of damage now, but he just some of the greatest ball ever, and they get him in the Cataclysm, but the healing is ridiculous. Both ultimates coming out of Larry and Fiora taking down Will of D. They do get the Rift Herald, but Larry falls. Fiora, it's going to be a one-on-one between Kodo and Fiora. And Fiora backs out. Holy cow.
We even had a fight going on here in the mid lane. Garchomp won, taking down Death. I mean, once you get charmed, it's virtually impossible to be able to get away from Ari here. No rocket jump is available because you're slowly walking towards the lovely nine-tailed fox here.
Exactly, especially when you're someone as vulnerable as an ADC.
Yep.
There's a reason why ADCs have supports. They are some of the weakest champions, like health and armor-wise in the game. Ignite Death Charge coming out with an Ignite follow. Big Ben gets so low. Unbreakable Shield comes out, but Larry loves him. He roots up both of them, finishes up the concussive blows onto McDoodles. Holy cow, Big Ben and Calavir just so low.
Yeah, there was a lot of damage being dropped here from the Geek Factor. He was able to get the Syndra low. I mean, there was a bit of a good lockup coming in from McDoodles with his hook and his root on the Syndra, and so a lot of damage being dealt there. And then I was curious, Larry Livestein looked like he wanted to like re-engage, but there was no way that bot lane would have been able to jump back in, and so he had to back away as well. Nunu and Willem isn't exactly a damage-heavy champion when it comes to being against, fighting other champions. He just is supposed to survive for a very long time. And so now, yeah, he's just holding this wave for Calavir.
I don't think he knows that Will of D is in his jungle, though. He snatched his Raptors while Larry was sitting bot lane. Now, they are at a similar CS, 1 CS towards the side of Will of D. But, I mean, they have had about the same impact on the game. Larry prioritizing the Rift Herald, which was summoned top lane, and then Will of D prioritizing the Dragon, the Cloud Drake, which they did get. Yeah, and the CS difference is just growing in that bot lane. It's almost 40 CS at this point. At this point, Ezreal is probably just going to be able to take over the game. He's going to do so much damage with his Mystic shots.
He does have his Manamune here already set up, and then we have Sheen.
Ooh, we have a gank coming out in the mid lane. Larry tries to lock up Garchomp, but Garchomp just has too many dashes, gets away, charms up Larry, ignites. He's getting so low, and he's taken down. Ignite takes down Larry. He's getting, this was kind of my worry.
Yeah.
Is that he gets a little over ambitious, and I don't know if it's pressure or what it is, but he does things that I didn't see him do in the first game. And there's a nice rocket jump coming out of Tristana, but she does get charmed up, still has a flash, gets away. But that was a ridiculous amount of damage coming out of... Oh! But Fiora gets Kodo Drake low. The slow from the Glacial Augment may be able to... Ooh, but...
Fiora, yep, having to back away.
Garchomp 1 was missing from the mid lane, and he did notice that, so he did back off.
It's things are looking a little tough here for Needlessly Large Rods right now. They're really on a struggle bus right now. I think Larry Lovestein is trying to make, he's trying to create, he's trying to be present in these lanes and generate pressure, deal damage where he can. But he's a Nunu Willump with a Cinderhulk and with Magic Resist. Like, there's not much he can do when it comes to dealing damage, and no one's really online for the rest of the Rods right now. Death is struggling to farm at this point, doesn't exactly have much going in the way of that. Fiora's is doing pretty okay. I mean, but that's a Glacial Augment. Oh no!
Oh man, they didn't know Will of D was here. They had him in a control ward. He does do the flag and drag, but doesn't get a knock up everyone. Cataclysm does freeze up Larry. But holy cow, they have a team! Teleport came in. Fiora came in with the ultimate, but couldn't quite hit anybody. She does get Ezreal with the GLP, but the flag and drag brings Will of D back into the safety of the tower. But no, they take Will of D down. That is a 2-for-0 trade. Kodo Draco being left in the top lane, though.
Wow. Now what a play coming in. Fiora, I think, is going to be the biggest mid-game help for Needlessly Large Rods because the damage being dealt, the lockup that he can do with his ultimate as well as his W, just so pivotal in dealing damage. He was able to get the kills on Will of D, or the kill on Will of D, and get the and they were able to get the dragon because of that. So things are looking good as long as they can get Fiora to just carry them through that mid game, try and get that Tristana online. The Syndra will be able to deal some damage a little bit later as well, but it's going to be a heavy look towards Fiora.
Yes. So honestly, what I've noticed about Fiora and Nico is he definitely is way more map aware. He always notices when team fights are going on and is always the first one to respond. He teleports in and does what he can to turn fights. That tower is getting low as well in the top lane. Yeah, it honestly, and Kodo Draco, I think he played it pretty well. He did. I mean, they did give up those 2 kills in the bot lane, but he got first turret, a little extra gold in everybody's pocket on the team,
Which would be nice, a little stimulus package for the blue side here.
There's a return tower in top side, along with Larry taking down the Rift Herald. So that is, oh no. Will of D coming in from the backside. Does get a flag and drag off. It looks like flashes came out. They are still alive. Calavir gets a nice stun off on Ezreal, but he did already. Oh, and the Mystic shots.
Wow.
They live.
I think Will of D was trying to back off to let the Keaton Factor take the kill on Calavir, but in so doing, just didn't even kill Calavir. There was no gold given to anyone. I would rather have gold onto a jungler than no gold on anyone. So I mean, come on, you gotta think about it, guys. But Calavir gets away with a sliver of health, and that is a second Rift Herald for Needlessly Large Rods. Oh no. Well, that was a little.
Yeah.
That was a questionable play there, dying under tower, or dying deep into their side of the tower.
Yeah, I think Larry thought that the Rift Herald would do more damage, or that Death and Fiora would follow up a little bit more. So he started his greatest snowball ever, but unfortunately hit Garchomp while he was still under tower. So he got turret aggro, and he definitely died.
And then and Ari, who's a pseudo assassin mage controlled thing, just a ball of assassin mage stuff, was able to grab that charm, get the kill easy. So Garchomp won, really just doing work with Ari. She will be so pivotal for the rest of this game, getting those charms down, allowing the rest of her team, if she's not able to get the kill, allowing the rest of her team to follow up. Even on that single bit of CC, it will be extremely powerful for Garcrush 2.
Oh man, and Big Ben was knocked up, but nothing quite yet has happened. He does pop out the Glacial Fissure, but doesn't hit anybody. And now it feels like just the calm before the storm again.
Yeah. 2 towers down here on Garcrush 2. 2 towers on Needlessly Large Rods right now. It is a story of Tale of Two Cities at this point, just right. It's evenly matched, I would say, in that idea. The gold difference, though, is about 3K in the favor of Garcrush 2. There is quite a bit of bounties, though, set up for...
Ooh, and Larry does get the greatest snowball ever, but can't quite get the lockdown on Will of D.
That was actually a lot of damage. Larry dealing quite a bit, but I still think Larry is a little ambitious. He still tries to dive into these fights that aren't a good follow-up for the rest of his team. But that mid lane, trying to close out that tower.
Garchomp 1 is definitely looking a little scary right there, waiting to dash over. They do start the concussive blows on that Fizzroll, and a Death Charge comes out. The entire team is here to follow up. Will of D jumps in, almost takes down Death, but Death gets away. Big Ben is taken down, but Larry can't get Keaton Factor. Keaton Factor lives. jumps over the wall, and that's a nice stun coming out of Calavir, knocking out 3 of them. Too bad there was no follow-up on there. Fiora couldn't quite get any damage on there. I do believe she had ultimate up, but wasn't feeling good about the engage, so she didn't do it. Mountain Drake, it is a Mountain Rift, so this is the first of the Soul, and Fiora, you are caught out.
What?
Wow, McDoodles flashed over right into Fiora's stun. But unfortunately, McDoodles is taken low, but not taken out.
Yep. You can still get a hook when you're rooted. You're not stunned with Nico's W, so.
And that,
Or E.
Honestly, Fiora walking in without any vision, she just honestly got picked off.
Yeah. 2 Drakes now for Garcrush 2. The first one of Soul, and so whoever gets this Soul will have 3 points of Mountain Drake stats. That's a lot of tanky stats for either side. Whoever gets it, that would be so big for McDoodles if they were able to get that, because Nautilus just can take everything, just take all the damage and just still sit there.
I do believe that it would be a little more advantageous on needlessly large rods just because of Larry and Big Ben. They both are prioritizing defenses. Oh, and Fiora didn't see Kodo Draco.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that almost got a little scary, but Larry throwing out another gauge on a McDoodles, but unfortunately can't quite make anything happen. Calavir did teleport, and Fiora is getting some damage here on Will of D.
Oh my
so
word.
much damage. Taking him to half health, but can she take him out? She is trying to dodge Kodo Draco's Qs, but she can't quite do anything. GOP freezes up Kodo Draco. Death jumps in, but can't quite get anything. Big Ben knocks up Kodo Draco, but now they have a whole team, and unfortunately, Fiora already used her ultimate, but Larry's ultimate comes out doing so much damage. Death knocks Will of D out of his own Cataclysm. Kodo Draco flashes out, and he's just healing from all his Qs, and now they're picking him off. Poke Comp's just taking him one by one. 1 kill going over to the side of Needlessly Large Rods. Fiora takes down McDoodles, but honestly, that is one of the scariest things about Ezreal as a champion, is during your team fights, he just sits there and throws Qs until you get low enough for him to jump in. And they just got spotted out. Kodo and Keaton Factor coming in.
Oh,
and
man.
Fiora is taken down along with Big Ben. Kodo Draco taking both of them. Meanwhile, Garchomp 1 just taking towers in the bot lane. Biggest snowball ever comes out of nowhere. Lands right into Garchomp 1. Unfortunately, not a lot of damage.
You can't deal damage with the Knight's Vow, though, so you gotta push her off, and that's all you can do. We do have 13-4 here. If we break down what happened in that team fight there on that top side, Will of D really showing up early in the fight, taking so much damage from Fiora. He had to disengage, but what it did do is it sent a little bit of blood in the water for the rest of the rods to show up and try and deal damage. But then Garcrush 2, who has the item advantage, who has the gold and the lane priorities, just came together and, like, as piranhas, just slowly nibbled away at all 5 of these people on the side of the rods, and so they got aced, and then that was enough time for Garchomp to rotate down to that bot side, take it all the way to the inhibitor tower, and now there's pressure on that bot side. Maybe even a solid setup for Baron at this point.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate that there was just no more damage left on the side of Needlessly Large Rods in that last fight. Like it honestly was a great setup by Larry, getting that ultimate, and then, oh man, Will of D snatching that red buff, putting Death in the Cataclysm, and sending Death to the Death Realm.
Keaton Factor just doing so much damage right now. And the nice thing about Ezreal versus other AD carries is it's his skill shots that deal the damage, so you don't even have to be in auto attack range. You just are throwing all of your skill shots out, and if it attacks somebody, and you deal damage. You're like, okay, great, that was fine. You don't actually have to walk up to auto attack them to deal damage.
Yeah, and Garchomp 1 is actually playing this game pretty funny in my eyes and as an Ari. I don't normally see Ari split pushing. They don't really have, like, Ari doesn't have that good of split push potential, but because of the advantages that Garcrush 2 is creating, that she's just able to take these turrets one after another.
I would say the biggest thing is about that split push is that Ari has so much mobility that if two people do show up to try and stop her, she can just, you know, either ult away or charm and then walk away.
Yep.
But she can take down anyone in a 1v1, and so you're forcing two people to rotate to her, then she just walks away and generating pressure on the opposite side. And so instead of Kodo Draco being the split pusher, being the pressure on the opposite side of the map as it was last game, it's now Garchomp 1.
They did get spotted out trying to sneak Baron here. It's getting very low. We have teleports coming out. I believe that's Fiora. It's getting so low in the thousands. Where's the smite? And it's taken down. Holy cow. Larry Lovestein snuck the Baron, but now they're in a tough position. All of them could be defeated here. Larry Lovestein pulls out the ultimate, and so does Fiora. So much damage coming out of both of them. But Will of D barely lives. Zonius comes out of Kodo Draco, but Kodo Draco is taken down. Death Charge comes out right in the middle of the rocket jump, so that it was hit. Tristana was hit mid-jump, and now there are 2 remaining members with Baron. And Calivir is so low and in a very hard spot. McDougall throws the hook, but it doesn't matter.
No way.
King Factor takes him down. It was a very creative sneak. They knew they had to do something, but unfortunately it just didn't turn their way.
Death, you should have just kept walking. He was free to get out, but he decided to back in that bush in between the two, the tier 1 and tier 2 turrets. And then, I mean, the King Factor didn't know he was there. But, I mean, you always check the bushes. You know, you just skill shot the bush real quick. And he did get the kill, and so there was an ace. And no one has Baron now. Sure, they maybe got gold for Baron, but no Baron buff on anybody. And now it's just a solid push on 2 lanes right now, top and mid lane. We have Larry here to actually clean up a little bit, but, I mean...
Yeah, and luckily Larry doesn't go down easily. He is very tanky.
Yeah.
So he may be able to hold this, but honestly, if Garchomp gets a good charm on him, they're just going to follow up with so much CC, flag and drag. The hook coming out of McDoodle is like, they just have so much. Holy cow, Calivir. Nice stun, good damage. I did not expect that, but King Factor just throwing autos, and Garchomp is separated from the rest of the team, but everyone is getting so low. Fiora goes down. Cataclysm goes out onto Death. He gets so low, but he's able to get out. Larry does use his ultimate, but he doesn't quite do enough damage. Flag and Drop barely misses. Will he be able to get the root? He does get the root, but only on Nautilus. Not much you can do there. There's not any damage on the side of needlessly larger rods alive anymore.
The longer this game goes, though, Death will become online, and so Garcrush 2 needs to close this out as soon as possible, because we saw right there so many resources were used on Larry Lovestein, and he's surviving for so long at this point. Imagine what will happen if they can get Death in an advantageous position on the team fights with Larry and Big Ben just soaking all of the damage up. It could be devastating for Garcrush 2. But as of right now, Garcrush 2 looks like they're in this dominating fashion. They have these lanes pushed up so well, and their target selection is on point, especially in that last engage we saw Will of D jump in on that backline, Cataclysm their backline, and then forcing Death to have the rocket jump away back towards their base, and then the flag and drag to knock up the rest of the front line. That was all Will of D's doing right there, and just splitting up needlessly large rods into bite-sized chunks.
Oh, and McDoodle's here clearing some boots from the jungle. Uh-oh, Death may be caught out here. He is hooked up. McDoodles doesn't have any teammates here, though, but they are on the way. He's got enough CC to keep Death there.
League of Tanks, everybody. League of Tanks.
Yeah, I believe he did pop his Gargoyle Stone Plate. Yeah, he popped his Gargoyle Stone Plate there, so he'll have that for the next team fight. He'll be slightly less tanky when he blows all his summoner spells. And Garcrush 2 is a little bit disconnected here as they
They don't have
try
the
to
front
do.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a problem. But the flag and drag goes up on Big Ben. They have a whole team to follow up on.
Big
So
Ben.
much damage. Just, yep, honestly, just a little bit out of position. They didn't have vision in the jungle. You shouldn't be walking in there if you don't have vision. And now they should be able to get these turrets just because they know that it's going to be a 4v5 regardless of the fight. And the charm comes out and they take down with Larry. Calavera is stuck inside the Cataclysm.
Ooh.
Death Charge comes out. It's not going to kill her, but Ezra
There we
will.
go.
Mystic Shot's coming out. And honestly, this is just a slow death at this point. They're dying one by one, getting caught out in unfavorable circumstances. They need a little bit more vision in the jungle before they go around walking there.
We do see here now Will of D. He went the warrior route with his jungle item, but then decided to go straight raid boss with his with his black cleaver, and now he's got a belt and the chain vest or the chainmail going for the rest. For another item just about to happen, and now that is 3 dragons. That is Dragon Soul. That is a shield. That is tank stats. That's magic resist. That's armor. I don't know if Garcrush 2 can be killed at this point.
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be slow and painful from here on out. I think they're going to be losing objectives one by one until Baron comes up. They'll lose Baron, and then they'll probably, unless they can get a great team fight, it's going to be a pretty sorry situation here.
The thing that I think Needless Large Rods needs to do is be patient, wait for a lot of resource to be dropped on from Garcrush 2, and then go for that re-engage. But they get a little too antsy. Needless Large Rods gets a little too antsy in trying to drop 1 or 2 of these people. But there's just so many things. Oh.
Kodo Draco may be caught out here. Gets hit by the greatest snowball ever. Gets so low. He's hiding in the shroud. Has to use perfect execution to get out. Concussive blows did wear off, but Death hops over and gets the kill. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
If they can do a team fight right now, they could potentially take Baron and turn this game in their favor.
The Keaton factor, though, almost caught out. Has to phase rush away.
Oh, greatest snowball ever. Does the drifting. Oh, but Fiora is caught on the wrong side. Larry Lovestein doesn't have any damage. He didn't realize that his team stopped following him, and Death caught between Nautilus and a hard place.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately Calavera follows suit. Cataclysm comes out, locks up Larry and Big Ben. Fiora is left on the outside, does tons of damage to Will of D, but Keaton Factor is just firing from the outside. Big Ben comes in as her shield. Zonia's does block it, but look at their base.
Holy
They
cow.
are getting destroyed right now. Oh my goodness, they actually won this fight. Keaton Factor was taken down. 1,000 gold shutdown. Teleport comes out. That is, I believe, Kodo Draco. Gets the concussive blows, but Kodo Draco takes down Fiora. The only damage left, and unfortunately, this was all just a distraction.
It's all a ruse.
Garcrush is just distracting them, so Garcrush can take the Nexus. Biggest snowball ever comes out, but it doesn't even matter. Garcrush 2 is headed to the finals.
Garcrush 2 is like, you may have taken our AD carry down, but you have activated our trap card. We have an Ahri taking the base. That was an insane play from Garcrush 2. We almost were like, oh no, like that's not good for Garcrush 2. Yep. But we never saw we never saw the Ahri show up in that team fight because she was a little busy taking inhibitors.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wouldn't have mattered how that team fight ended. Garcrush was still there, and he was still taking the Nexus. And what I think was needlessly large Rod's biggest downfall was that they were fighting on Garcrush 2's terms.
Yeah.
They were only responding to fights. They weren't creating fights.
Right.
And Larry was trying his hardest, but the puzzles, it just wasn't falling into place.
I would absolutely agree with that. And along with that, needlessly large rods were thinking that they had to engage when it was on Garcrush 2's terms, right? They didn't try and just disengage and then kind of reevaluate how everything shook up.
Yeah.
They just were like, they're engaging. Okay, we gotta engage too. We gotta jump on them. We gotta do what we gotta just see what happens in the end. And near the end, I mean, we saw Fiora was doing quite a bit of damage, but it just wasn't enough
Yeah.
for the rest of the team. There wasn't enough follow-up happening as well when it came to, we saw Larry showing up with the big ball of snow. Well, I guess this was paper, but showing up with the big snowball for the knockup. The rest of his team was like, "Oh, we're like 5 steps behind you, buddy. We can't deal damage." And then Larry's dead, and that was an unfortunate moment. But yeah, it was a lot of problems coming in from needlessly large rods. We wanted to see the spiciness of their team composition to really come to fruition, but we didn't.
Yeah, it was very
We just
unfortunate.
didn't.
It was, and I actually did see a lot of mechanical ability from Calavir on that Syndra. He had some
Mhm.
great combos. He was doing great damage, but he just took too long to come online. Like the lane, it just felt painful to watch. Watch that
It was.
freeze, and then just see the CS difference.
Yeah.
It was just painful. So going into their next 3 games, they're going to be battling for third place. I think that Calavir does need to step up his game a little bit. I think he needs to have confidence in himself and in the lane. I think he needs to basically just, actually CS.
Just needs to. Yes, that's. I love it.
I
Yeah,
know.
that was painful to watch. That CS
was.
difference, especially against an Ezreal, it's like, I mean, he can't. He's not a pusher. Like, he doesn't have a bunch of attack speed. He doesn't have a bunch of AOE effects. His whole thing is trying to stack that, trying to stack his Manamune,
Mhm.
and he still had to push on a Syndra who has the AOE, who has the burst damage and the stuns of for not just on champions but on minions. You know, being able to control that wave. He had none of that. Calavir had none of that. So.
Yeah, it was very, very unfortunate there in that bot lane. As for Garcrush too, going into the finals though,
Oh yeah.
what is your biggest piece of advice for them?
Garcrush 2. Let me think here. I think I don't know, they executed so well, and it's been a few weeks since we've seen Down to Flash, who is, the expected to be their opponent. I think they still have to play their games, right? Or they
Yes, so
Yeah,
so
they still have
they
to play
are
their games.
they still have to play their games.
So, I mean, Down to Flash, we assume is going to be in that finals against Garcrush 2. That could be different, but against Down to Flash, I think their biggest piece of advice is to play the macro. I mean, they have the micro set up, get a good team synergy, and then just play for the macro, get the priorities, try and be patient with what you're doing so that you have the opportunity to take dragons, you have the opportunity to get the Rift Heralds, and then add pressure to a certain lane. And then by the time they hit mid to late game, they can pick up those Barons, they can get the Dragon Soul, and then just close out the games. So it's play that macro, play patiently, don't go for, I mean, capitalize on opportunities, but don't be overly ambitious. I would say.
I agree. If we remember last game, they weren't pushing wins into objectives,
Right.
which was why Down to Flash was able to come back. So
Mhm.
if they can just capitalize on the great plays that Will of D has been making, if they make Down to Flash fight on their terms rather than reacting to Down to Flash movements, then I think they'll do a lot better. In the first game against Needlessly Large Rods, they let Needlessly Large Rods dictate how the game was going to be played,
Right.
and that's why they lost.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 games, they grew and they actually took over the games and made them fight on their terms, which is what they need to do Down to Flash.
And with that, we're going to go to a break once again. We'll get the opposite side of our semis bracket here. We have Down to Flash versus, oh my word, Thick Boys. Okay. Down to Flash versus Thick Boys on the opposite side of this bracket. We'll be coming back probably in the next 10 minutes or so, and we will have more for you.